In this episode, we discuss whether it's possible to make money from Category S salvage cars. So it's been about 4 weeks since we completed the Seat Leon build, and since I've put the car up for sale on two sources, Auto Trader and eBay. And I've had a few people who have been interested in the car, a number of traders who have caused me a few issues, including one giving me a bad review. However, I still have the car. Why is that? And there are a number of reasons why that is the case. Number one, it's a Category S car, and people still have a stigma about buying Category S cars. Number two, it's a high value car. So people who are spending that kind of money on a car want a decent car, or the best car for the value that they can afford. Number three, let's face it, Seat Leon, it's not the most popular car out there, is it? In thinking about the VAG range, the cars that do pretty well are the Audis, the A3 and the Golf. No one considers a Seat. Although the Seat is a really good car, it's made from the same components that an A3 and a Golf are made. Even the interior, the sat-nav, it's the same voice. So the technology is there, but it just seems to have this stigma about being the poor man's Audi. Also, another reason why the car hasn't sold is because it's a really sensible car. Now, what I mean by that is it's a diesel, it's a 1.6 diesel, it's an eco diesel at that, and it has a car tax for the whole year of £20. So the kind of person who's going to buy this car is going to be a person who is pretty sensible. They're looking for a car that's very economical, that's cheap to run, but also going to spend the money to buy such a car. And they're probably the type of person that are very cautious about what they buy, don't trust anyone. So when they see a Category S car, that's a massive red flag for them. And what doesn't help is things like Auto Traders, when they categorize your car for you. So when you put your car on Auto Trader, they do a HPI check, and so they will put a red flag and say, hey, this is a Category S car, which I'm totally fine with, because you should always advertise a car as what it is. And I've always done this as basically as the standard. I always categorize and say, hey, this is a cat car, so you're not hiding anything. But by doing that, when people read about Category S cars, they see all these things about, oh, they're terrible cars. And that's not really the case, as we've seen from this channel. So looking at those factors, that really makes a car such as this is a difficult car to sell. So can you make money buying and selling Category S cars? Well, that depends on what you're doing. And what I mean by that is why you're buying the car. If you're buying the car to keep for yourself, absolutely buy a Cat S car, because you'll buy the car for a lot cheaper than what it's worth. You'll be able to enjoy the process of getting the car back on the road, and you'll be satisfied in the knowledge that you've just bought yourself a car for a lot less than market value. This car here, I've been using to go to work for the last 4 weeks. That serves my purpose really well, because my Audi A4 has a limited mileage policy on it, which means that for 8 weeks of the year, I need to drive another vehicle to go back and forth to work. This has filled that purpose. Also, the price I bought this car for and the price it cost me to fix up actually cost me a lot less. If you remember how much that was, that amounted to some £6,731, something like that, from what I can recall. Now the retail price, buying one on the private market, was around £8,000 to £8,500. So I saved myself some £2,000 doing the car up that way, and that included what was almost a complete respray. So and because of all the scratches that were, all the deep key marks that were in the car. So had I had not had those deep key marks, the respray would have been around £600 from what the garage tells me, which means that I would have saved around £3,000 if I was keeping the car for myself. If you're wondering what I'm doing with the wheel, I just need to paint the wheel, because the wheel's all scratched up, and I did a test on the other wheel and the paint, it came out perfect, so I figured, well, let's paint all 4 of the wheels and make it all uniform, because that's one of the things that people were picking out from. Anyway, let's get back on course. So if you were keeping the car for yourself, then obviously it's worth it, because you've just saved yourself between £2,000 and £3,000, and you've got a car that is virtually 3 years old and is as good as any other vehicle on the road, other than the fact that it's got this Stigma Category S title on there. So what about if you're trying to make a profit with the car? Well, you got to pick the right car. And as I said earlier, the Seat Leon, if I was just buying the car to flip it and set it on, it would not be the right car, because it's not the car that appeals to anyone, and with a Category S it's going to be even less appealing. And like I said, it's a high value car, and high value cars are really tough to sell. And even with the discounted price, so I've been selling the car for less than market, it's had a few people who've taken a sniff, but they're not really being interested because of the Category S. Fortunately, I've now sold the car, so by the time you'll see this video, the car has been sold and we can move on to our next project. But really, the whole point of buying the car was for content on this YouTube channel, so that you were able to enjoy 14 weeks of seeing a Category S car put back on the road, some of the hazards and issues that you come across, but also seeing the whole process come to fruition. And of course, what a great looking car it's been. And to be fair, it's a brilliant car. Really enjoy driving it. I've been driving it back and forth to work, and it's just been a joy to drive. So whoever buys a car, the guy who's bought the car is going to get a great car. And fortunately, he's in the trade as well, so he kind of knows what to expect in terms of what, you know, he knows the value of a Category S car, and for him, he's going to use it to drive around. So what's next? Well, need to recoup some of our losses now. So I'm going to buy, my next car is most likely going to be either a Category U or a repossessed car. And I've got a few cars that I'm watching. If you're wondering what happened with the TTS, if you look on the screen now, you see how much it went for. So it went for quite a lot of money, over 4 grand. And that was way too much for me to invest in. With fees, etc., you're looking at a car that is close to 5 grand. And that's what it would have cost for me to ship it down south here to Dorset. So by the time I then buy bits and pieces, etc., I'll be looking at a vehicle that's going to cost me around 9 grand, maybe 9.5, and I can pick up a car, a TTS, for around that money without a title, which will be less difficult to sell. Would have been interesting content by all means, but it was not the investment that was right for me at the time. So I've let that one pass and we continue on. So the plan going forward, well, we need to just recoup some of our losses from the Seat Leon, because we need to make sure that we got a healthy budget so that we can do some exciting projects going forward. Unfortunately, I don't have a bottomless pit of cash, so the cars and the sales that I make, that has to fund this project while the channel's still young. So with the car potentially gone, what's next for the channel? I'll tell you what's next. Project Garage. As you can see from my garage, my shelves, they will be moved. If you can recall from earlier episodes, I used to have a whole load of shelving over there. That's now been moved to the back of the garage down there. So I've still got some stuff here on the floor that needs to be tidied up. And then if you look on the floor, you will see it just needs to be treated. So all of this rubbish here is going to go up the top there, so I can clear it all off. My tires, that's going to move up there. Then I'm going to paint the floor grey. So all of this floor at the moment down the front here, I'm just treating some of the oil patches that have been put here by oil spills and leaky oil from various cars. That's all been cleaned up, and I'm going to treat the floor so that it's prepared for the paint. Then after, we're going to paint the walls here. So I did a little bit of the walls and they're white. I'm going to spray paint the wall. I've got not an industrial, but it's a spray in a bottle, in a can, in a gun. I'll put a link up next week when we start using it, and I'm going to literally just spray all of the walls and down to the floor, spray them all white, just to give the garage some more light rather than having to put a skylight in. And that way, when we got the doors closed, it means that the garage is fairly bright. And then on top of that, I'm going to put some strip lights on the wall so that when we're detailing the car, we've got really a lot of light so we can see any scratches that are on the vehicle. All in all, this is going to be a really good workspace to work in. As you can see, I've done one side already earlier on during the year. We sprayed that white, just got to do the other side. And with this space here clear, it means that we've got more space to work with in the cars. And also, as you can see, both my toolboxes are now in the right place, right in front of the cars where they should be, rather than at the very top up there, which is where they were, which was silly. So that's all to come in the next couple of weeks. So that's what's coming up in future episodes. So the big question, doesn't mean I'm not going to buy any more Category S cars. Absolutely will be buying Category S's car. That's not going to stop me, because the content for this channel is, and for the feedback I get from you guys like seeing that. But what it does mean is I'm not going to buy a boring car like the Seat Leon. I'm going to be buying sportier cars. Any Category S that I buy will be sports orientated, so they're going to be decent cars that will probably still be difficult to shift, but will at least get some return for the work that we put into them. So I won't be selling them cheap to clear, but at the same time we'll be buying some Category U's and Category Category U's and some repossessed cars, just to keep the money turning over, so that the cars and this channel can continue to be funded. So I hope that makes sense to you all, and that you understand the reasons why, because a few of you have been putting comments down below that I think has caused you some concerns as to why I'm selling or sold the car so cheap. It really and genuinely it was to get the car sold so we can get some more content, so we don't have these down periods as we're having now. Even though the down periods allow me to fix the garage up, but for you guys, you're here to see what the cars and to get some repairs going. So that's what's going to happen going forward. So hope that makes sense to you guys, and look forward to seeing you next week. So if you like what you've seen today, don't forget to subscribe, give us a thumbs up and share this video. Look forward to seeing you Monday next week. Have a good week.